All right, today we're jumping into a really powerful text. It's basically a divine autobiography, an entire life story, from a miraculous beginning all the way to a deeply sorrowful end, told from the first person perspective of one of history's most revered figures, a mother.
So the text just drops you right in with this incredible statement. No messing around, no introduction. It immediately establishes who's speaking, her authority, and her core message. Right away, you get the sense that this isn't just a story, it's a declaration. It's got this huge, grand feeling, but at the same time, it's so personal.
So, how does a story like this even start? Well, the account takes us all the way back to the very beginning, describing a life that was apparently set apart for a divine purpose from the moment of conception. This first part is all about a beginning defined by this incredible purity and devotion. And her origin story is framed in this really unique way. The text says her parents' marriage was, well, so chaste that they would have literally preferred death over physical intimacy. So her conception isn't presented as an act of human passion. Instead, it's described as a direct result of divine love, something that happened because an angel delivered a message.
This quote is pretty amazing. It shows this laser-like focus she had from a super young age. I mean, before she had any idea what her destiny was, her whole life was pointed towards God. And get this, her dream wasn't to be the mother of the Savior. It was just to be worthy enough to serve her. That's some serious humility right there.
Okay, so all of this devotion is really setting the stage for the big moment, the turning point of the whole story, the divine invitation. And it's not just presented as some order from on high, but as a really deep personal choice, a choice that would, change everything.
What's really interesting here is that the text doesn't paint her faith as this lightning bolt moment. It was more like a deliberate journey broken down into 4 steps. First, she heard about God, then she learned about his power, then she decided to love him above everything else, and finally, she pulled away from the world. It really drives home that her devotion was a conscious choice, something she worked for.
So when the angel actually shows up, her reaction is so human. It's not instant, oh, okay. It's fear. The voice doesn't sound human, and her first thought is this a trick? A mockery by some evil spirit? It's this moment of real doubt that makes her eventual yes feel so much bigger, so much more meaningful. And this is the turning point. Her question isn't defiant, it's coming from this place of deep humility. Like, who am I, this unworthy girl, to be chosen for this? And the angel's response, nothing is impossible for God. That's the key. That's the assurance she needs to get past her doubt and say yes to this unbelievable destiny. All right, prepare yourself, because the story is about to take a really dark, devastating turn. We're going from the absolute high of that divine invitation to the lowest possible low, the most traumatic event imaginable for a parent. She has to watch her own son be crucified. The text calls it the ultimate sorrow. And the text does not hold back. It's just unflinching. The details are so graphic. The narrator describes her son being whipped so brutally that you could see his ribs. She talks about his flesh, which she calls pure from every stain and sin, being literally torn apart. It's intense. And this isn't some distant observation of what's happening. No, the text focuses on her personal, physical reaction to it. At the very first slash, she says she fell down as if dead. It's like she's sharing in his suffering, a trauma so deep that her body just gives out. The description of the crucifixion itself is just as raw. It talks about his body being stretched on the cross, his limbs pulled out of their sockets, a crown of thorns jammed onto his head. The way it's written is so direct, it's this relentless, almost clinical play-by-play of just unimaginable pain. And she makes it really clear that her pain was more than just reacting to the physical horror. She calls herself his most sorrowful mother and says she was so heartbroken, so full of sorrow, she could barely even stand up. Her emotional agony was just as real as his physical torment. Okay, so from that absolute rock bottom of sorrow, the story pivots again. It's a huge shift. We move past her life on Earth to learn about her new role, this incredible, exalted position. She's no longer the grieving mother at the foot of the cross. She's now described as the powerful Queen of Heaven. The way the text describes her journey to heaven is really specific. It's a 2-part thing. First, her soul goes up, and then later, her body follows.
The source makes a point to say she was taken up with body and soul, which points to this idea of a complete, total union with God, physical and spiritual.
Now, this next part of the account kind of lays out a map of the spiritual world. It presents this clear duality. You've got good angels on one side, they're our guardians, they're cheering us on when we do good. And then on the other side, you have bad angels, who are allowed to test us, to fan the flames of our worst desires, and push us towards sin. And this is where her new role as Queen of Heaven really comes into play for everyone else. The text claims that her name, Mary, actually has power over these evil spirits. The moment they hear it, they're terrified and have to immediately let go of any soul they've got in their clutches. Pretty powerful step. So the last part of this account takes all of that experience and basically boils it down into a practical guide. It's almost like a manual for what the text calls spiritual warfare. You know, that constant internal battle we all face against temptation. To make this idea of inner battles really clear, the text gives us this powerful allegory of three devils living inside us. There's the skipper, who lets lust seep in like water into a boat. Then there's the worm, who eats away at your good intentions from the inside, like a worm in an apple. And finally, the archer, who shoots bitter words out of your mouth like arrows. These metaphors are so vivid, they make these abstract ideas feel like real, concrete dangers.
And let's be clear, the text doesn't mess around when it talks about the stakes here. This isn't about some minor slip-up. According to the narrator, if you don't fight and resist these temptations, it could lead straight to the eternal damnation of your soul. The stakes could not be higher.
So what we have here is this ancient account that paints life as a constant critical struggle. It's not just about fighting outside forces, but also about battling these devils we have inside. And that leaves us with one final thought. If you take away the specific religious context for a moment, where do you see this fundamental battle, the one between our better angels and our inner demons, playing out in the world today?